This is the book of Matthew, chapter 16, and verse 2 and 3. And he answered and said unto them, When it is evening, ye say, It will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, it will be foul weather, today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but can ye not discern the signs of the times? Matthew chapter 16, verse 2 and 3. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Double honor to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and I'm gonna jump right into this real quick. I believe I'm a little bit under the weather, so I'm not gonna, do too much with this. Just gonna go straight to the point. All right, and this is an article dated June the 29th, 2023. All right, and I believe today is July the 3rd. Okay, now the title goes, Federal Reserve names organizations certified as ready for Fednow service. Okay. It says Chicago, the Federal Reserve announced that 57 early adopter organizations, including financial institutions and service providers, have completed formal testing and certification in advance of the Fednow services launch planned for late July. You hear that? And we're already in July. And within the next 3.5 weeks or so, we're going to be getting ready for August, the month of August. Okay? So we're inching closer and closer to the end of this calendar year once again. And we expect a lot of things to change from now and the launch of this so-called Fednow service. Okay, because now you're starting to see, all right, the prophecy of the MOTB starting to take shape. Because now we can see a lot of different prophecies, like the time of Jacob's trouble, that is described even in the book of Second Esdras. All right, which we're going to get. All right, how are those things going to come about? Right? These things are not just going to suddenly just happen and people are just bugging out in the streets. No, there's always an event that happens that people get affected by. And it gets so bad that they start to take to the streets as the only option they have, right? Look at what's going on in France. Okay, they're saying that they just had to mobilize 45,000 troops by so-called police officers, which nowadays the police have been militarized pretty much. You know what I'm saying? You don't see the kind of trucks and vehicles and armor and the kind of gear that they wear and so on and so forth. So the police has already been militarized. A lot of the military armaments that they use to go to war overseas, all right, when those weapons become pretty much outdated, they pass them down to the police force. You see, so they're militarizing the police. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are not even noticing it. But again, it's not just in America. It's happening in different countries as well. Okay, so you're looking at what's going on in France, and you're paying attention to how, they're treating the citizens out there, by calling them terrorists, calling them rioters, seditionists, and so on and so forth. And the main reason why that's happening in the country of France, which protesting and rioting in France has been going on since 2018. The yellow vest protests, the yellow jacket protests and shit. 2018, 2019, same thing was happening in China, right? So now we understand why China was having those protests, because they were preparing them to be in the beast system. What you see going on in China right now is an example of how the beast system is going to work, right? It's going to be based on your social cues, your social conformity. How do you conform to the ways of society? That's what's going to determine your rank when it comes to society, right? So your conduct, okay, that's all reshaping people for the MOTB. So Fednow, all right, is going to start reshaping people's behavior through the money system, because now your behavior matters. What you think matters. What you say matters. You're going to be held accountable and liable for everything you do. Okay? So in order for things not to work against you, or the system not to work against you, you have to comply. You see, so Fednow, once is fully instituted and it becomes the norm, do you know what happens then? They have all the power, they have all the control. At that point, whatever mandates are out there, which there will be mandates, and those mandates are there to take away your freedoms and your rights and the things that makes you comfortable in society, is going to take those things away from you, and now you be at the beckoning call of these feds, of these elites. Whatever they say at that point, you have to do it, because now they're in the control of the food, they're in the control of the money, they're in the control of the energy, right? Through climate change, they're going to strip away a lot of rights and freedoms and privileges and so on and so forth. And they're going to institute draconian measures. Because of what? Because they need to protect the climate. They need to protect the earth. By destroying the earth, they tell the world, we're protecting you from the dangers of all the things that's been happening at your own hands. You see, a prime example is, in order for us to save the planet, we need to do away with livestock, right? So we can create lab-grown meat, so that we don't have to kill our livestock to produce more methane. Do you see how they play the game? We're going to kill off the animals so we can create lab-grown meat for you to eat, so that we don't, by creating lab-grown meat, we don't have to kill animals anymore. That's good for society. See how stupid they do things? But yet people believe it. So it says, many of these organizations will be live when the Fednow service launches or shortly after, with financial institutions ready to send and receive transactions and service providers ready to support transaction activity. Okay, we know financial institutions to be these banks. Okay, the major banks, right? You have the JP Morgan Chase, right? You have the Bank of America, you have Wells Fargo, you got TD Bank, Capital One, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And all these banks are little banks, little institutions underneath the biggest bank, which is the Federal Reserve Bank. Just like how these other banks are private institutions, the Federal Reserve is the same exact thing, but just on a bigger level. You see, they are the ones who control the American system, the American dollar, because they print the money. It's called the Federal Reserve note. It's literally on it. So America is in debt to the Federal Reserve because the Federal Reserve is a privately owned bank. And America is nothing but a corporation. So the corporation, the body, right, is lending or borrowing money from a private bank. You see, and all of the citizens who are really just employees who work in this corporation, right? That's why you have a birth certificate and all these different things. You are just a worker in the corporation of America, the United States of America. You see? So that means that the feds have power over you because they own this corporation known as America, because America is in debt to that private bank. You see how this is all coming together? So now the private banks are now coming together and saying that we're going to change our way of doing business. That means that the corporations, major corporations, including the American government, which is a corporation, again, they just put the name government on there. That's just the name of it. It's like saying Federal Express, FedEx. It doesn't mean they're federal. It's just a name. Okay? It's like saying Bank of America. Bank of America does not mean that's the bank for America or the American bank. It's just a name called Bank of America. That's it. You see? So it's the same thing. The United States government is just a name for the corporation. That's it. See? But people are deceived because of the word government. They think, oh, this is an official thing. No, it's just a branch. It's just a corporation, you know? So continuing, it's like me opening up my own thing and calling it the Haran government, you know? It may be a gym and I call it the Haran government. It's just a name, you know? It doesn't mean that it's actually a government. It's just a name, you know? But I can also put different entities within the corporation to give off the impression that it is a form of a government that has to do with the people and so on and so forth, but it really doesn't. See, but they'll bring you in through adhesion contracts, through through your straw man, and that's how they get people to represent themselves in the corporation. Low and soon we're going to get into all that. All right, so continuing, going back into the article here, it says this group of early adopters. So going back to a point I was making, that once the Fednow sets these new rules and regulations and it becomes the standard way of doing things, people are going to bug the hell out, just like what's going on in France. See, France is in the transition stage. See, that's why the people are reacting that way. Once they're done, all they need to do now is just let the people run rampant for a little bit more. It's summer. Let them go on for a little bit. And then you bring in the troops. You just institute martial law, bring in the troops, and then shut everything down, lock everybody down, change the whole system, right? And then boom, at this point, this is how we're doing things, because all these people who are rioting, all these people, your bank accounts have been closed, you know, everything like that. They're going to be going in, you know. Once people start rioting, I don't foresee them, or I don't see them, I don't put it past them, all right, to just shut everything down. Just boom, just lights out, boom, just to quell the madness or to incite it. You know, either or, they could do something. They can turn out the electricity or turn out the lights and just have the cities go crazy. Or they could set it up where the cities are going crazy. They turn off the lights, and then it makes the people are like, oh, what's going on? Bring the troops in. In the midst of that chaos, you bring in that order. You know, either way, there's going to be bloodshed. So that's just the point. It's going to be chaos. Okay. It says this group of early adopters is now performing final trial runs on the service to confirm their readiness to support live transactions over the new instant payments infrastructure. Now, it's kind of interesting because as this is also going live, you have Elon Musk and all these different other big tech companies coming together to create all this implantable technology, which merges perfectly with the digital way of buying and selling. You see, so we're seeing prophecy, all right, taking place right in front of our eyes. And the Lord has given us all the signs. Everything you see is leading to the MOTB. Okay. So it says the early adopters include 41 financial institutions participating as senders, receivers, and or correspondents, supporting settlement, 15 service providers processing on behalf of participants in the U.S. Department of the Treasury. Okay, and that's also a part of the corporation of the U.S., the United States. All right, so let's keep going. It says here, quote, "We are on track for the Fednow service launch with a strong cohort of financial institutions and service providers of all sizes in the process of completing the final round of readiness testing," said Ken Montgomery, first vice president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston and Fednow program executive. See, so they're just coming out with it, man. You know, they're going through the final stages. So this thing is about to be set up soon, man. You know, and with how fast AI is, being built nowadays, this shit takes weeks, months, and then you see a whole new different form of technology, way advanced than what you saw previously. You know, things are quickly, escalating, man. You know, it says with go live nearing, financial institutions and their industry partners should be confident in moving forward with plans to join the network of organizations participating in the Fednow service. There you go. You see, that he calls it all. You see, he calls it all. So now, all these network organizations who are participating, do you understand that they're all tied together and tied together into things that are essential to human use, especially here in America, the West? Everything is tech based now. Everything is depending on a system in a way. They're doing now, I believe the last, form of creation or business outside of the government coming in and giving you, guidance or whatever, are the farmers. The farmers now are being attacked. So that's pretty much the last thing that gave so-called Americans the freedom to say, hey, we are the ones who are creating something in our homeland. Now everything is corporations who are doing these things. Food is not food anymore. Water is not water anymore. They're constantly putting all kinds of different chemicals in the food, and why do you think we have people acting the way they act nowadays? Because of what's in the food, what's in the water. They're putting certain chemicals in the food. These fast food restaurants, these chain, Starbucks and all these, they're putting something in it that is affecting especially the youth. That is why you're seeing all this degenerate behavior, all this uncouth, disrespectful, disgusting, abominable, sinful, ungodly generation of people. And America promotes more and more and more wickedness. And we're the only ones who stand up against it. But now they're trying to make laws to justify their wickedness and to call us the bad guys in the name of hate speech, in the name of anti-Semitism. You see, the Heavenly Father is going to destroy America, Babylon the Great, and anyone who sits there and believes otherwise, you will be gone too. This place is a sinful kingdom and it will be destroyed. Point blank, period. It says, over time, financial institutions are expected to adopt and build on the Fednow service, with the goal of offering new instant payments services to their customers. There you go. There you go. The door has been opened. Now you have to just enter. There you go. They said, Montgomery noted that as a platform for innovation, that's what tech, right? R&D, research and development. That's all going into innovation. The Fednow service is intended to support multiple use cases. Check this out. Such as account-to-account transfer, request for payment, bill pay, and many others. You notice how this is all leading to buying and selling, transactions, commerce. So the infrastructure is being built. Now, for you to interact with this infrastructure, which will be very, very essential, because pretty much they're tying everything into this digital system, digital world. And that if you are not part of it, you're basically non-existent. You don't exist. It says, in addition to working with early adopters, the Federal Reserve continues to work with and onboard financial institutions planning to join later in 2023 and beyond. As the initial step to growing a robust network aiming to reach all 10,000 U.S. financial institutions. It says about the Fednow service, the Federal Reserve banks, you hear that? banks are developing the Fednow service to facilitate nationwide reach of instant payment services by financial institutions, regardless of size or geographic location. You hear that? And he called it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. See? They said regardless of the size or geographic location. It doesn't matter. This is going to cover all. It says around the clock, every day of the year. You see? Now, they say it in a way that is enticing. That is how Esau communicates. That is how Esau sets you up. You see, scripture says that their words are smoother than butter, but what was in his heart. You see, that's how they always pitch ideas. Before they do something, they don't come out straight and say, hey, we're going to put a system that will basically be required. If you want to do anything 24/7 around the clock, you're required to show verification of identification, right? And that's only going to be done by way of getting this MOTB. They're not going to pitch it like that to you. They'll pitch it like, oh, this new service will facilitate a nationwide reach of instant payment services by financial institutions. So that means that the people's mind is, oh, so it's going to be available 24/7. That's good, right? Regardless of the size or geographic location. Oh, so wherever I'm at, this thing is going to work. Oh, that's very convenient. That's very good. Around the clock? Oh, that's even better. Every day of the year, yo. So I could just get up one day and boom, at 2 a.m, hey, yo, I need this, get that done, boom, done. Okay, good. That's convenience. You see, around the clock, damn, that's convenience. But they don't understand that around the clock means 24/7 of surveillance. Okay? They're watching everything you do, everything you say. Your social media account is tied to your bank. Your jobs are tied to your bank. Everything you do, everything is all tied together. And all comes back to you. You, the identified creature, by way of an implantable CHIP. They said, through financial institutions participating in the Fednow service, businesses and individuals will be able to send and receive instant payments at any time of the day, and recipients will have full access to funds immediately, giving them greater flexibility to manage their money and make time-sensitive payments. And we know that to be a lie. He said recipients will have full access. That means you're not going to have full access. Okay? They're watching everything. It says access will be provided. When they talk like that, that means they have the power to give access or not. Access will be provided through the Federal Reserve's Fedline network, which serves more than 10,000 financial institutions directly or through their agents. You see, so access will be provided. You know what I'm saying? They're telling you that there's going to be conditions. And if access is being provided, that means, like I said, access also could be cut off. And that's what's going to happen once this system is set up. Access to your funds will be cut off. And the only way to get back to your access to your funds will be by complying with the new way of doing things. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, in verse 14. Starting off verse 14, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. And that's the warning. That's why the Lord sent the prophets. Because the times that we're entering into is going to be a time like never before. And who's going to be affected the most? Jake. The times that we're entering into will even show more of who the Israelites are in these last days. Because you're going to see how much more. People are going to be wondering, how much more can the people take? How much more can they make it that much obvious that they have an agenda and a vendetta against you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man? The so-called Canadian wildfires that's happening, so-called, right? Because we know that's not what's going on, right? We've covered that, right? But with that going on, the smoke that's spreading, you don't be surprised if it starts affecting Jake populated cities the most. The air quality in Jake populated cities are going to be the worst in American history, global history. That is all part of Jacob's trouble. When the Fednow and all these things take effect, who's going to affect the most, the changes? They say what? Underserved communities. You know who's underserved communities? Jake. So once you start seeing these things affecting the so-called Black, Latino, Native American men, women, and children the most, they're catching the most hell, understand it's a time of Jacob's trouble. But the elect will be saved out of that trouble. So verse 15, 2 Ezra 15, verse 15 says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. You hear that? So the Lord is preparing, all right, the sword and the destruction of the wicked. It's coming. And that's why we're here to warn. So the elect can wake up to the warning, take heed, repent, and get ready so the Lord can protect them and provide that salvation when Yahushua comes back. All right, it says, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Look at what's going on in France. Okay, think of civil wars, civil riots, right? Why do you think they got this whole Trump situation going on? Oh, Trump is being arrested. Trump is being indicted. Trump is going to court. Nobody cares. You see, nobody cares. So that narrative is dying. Nobody's even talking about it more. Well, he was being arrested and being sent into jail and he's going to be in prison and all that. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, what happened? They distracted everybody with a so-called drowning of a damn Titanic. You see? Yo, this thing is played out. But anyway, they're setting the people up to fight. That's why Klaus Schwab said, prepare for an angrier world. Okay? It says, for there shall be sedition among men. People are going to start using words to push out what their so-called government officials are doing. So you're going to have people coming together and saying, hey man, this Biden guy is not working out. We got to get him up out of here. You know, we got to do whatever it takes. We can't listen to what they're saying. These people are out of their minds. When they start putting them draconian measures down, people are going to rebel against it. You see, people will automatically rebel against it. They're going to fight back because they're fed up with the Fednow. See, they're going to be fed up with that. So it says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another, right? They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So people are going to be going wherever they want to go, however they want to get there, whenever they want to get there, as long as they can get there. You know? And at that point, if the Lord ain't on your side, that's why it says woe. W-O-E, woe. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. You see, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. You see, so these things are all happening, but so like I think I missed one precept here. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right, why is that? Fednow. Okay, again, that's just going to cause a chain reaction. Once that shit is set up and goes live, you're gonna start seeing a lot of things just happen randomly. It's like, oh shit, what the fuck? Lockdowns, this is happening, that's happening, energy crisis, this is happening, that's happening. You know, very convenient, right? Very convenient. Anyway, it says, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right? And it's not just talking about just this month of so-called pride, last month of so-called pride, but just the pride as in how people are today. Okay, they're proud and they're rebellious against the Heavenly Father's will. Okay, that's why they didn't take heed to the prophets of the Lord, because they don't care. See, and the Lord designed him that way so he can get them. See, it says, and shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. And that's the times of desperation. Look, man, they took my money too. All right. Look, they took my life too. Look, they got a foreclosure sign on my house because I can't pay them loans, man. Look, man, I'm coming. Listen, I ain't got no food for my family. All right. I seen that you got rice and bags and all that. You've been stocking up. I seen you posting on social media. My man, we gonna have to share this. See? So that's what's gonna be happening. People are gonna be doing whatever the hell they want to do. And if you have the weapons to do it, yeah, you're gonna be on point. But for us over here, our weapons, all right, is in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. So he'll provide us with the weapons that we're gonna need. We don't gotta think about that. He provide us with it. And that's when we're gonna do work. You see. But we're definitely living in those days, man. And at this point, any day now. You know, we always say any day now, any day now, any day now. But that's part of the warning for the elect to take heed. And once the Lord sets everything to go in motion, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. Yahushua talked about the beginning of sorrows. The time of sorrows is when we get delivered. We are at the beginning of sorrows. Anyway, I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you are edified. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Chakodash, the water Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And until next time, Shalom.